wash my sins away. Oh, hello. You didn't see me dancing just now, did you? Oh, you did. I thought maybe. Sorry, guys. I just was super excited because today is super awesome. But you catch me do all the silly things. So, just to get everything out there, I need to ask you a favor. Can you please ask your mom and dad to comment on Facebook or YouTube and tell me who's watching? That way we can get it out in the open that you saw me dancing and I see you are watching me. Awesome. Well, I was dancing because today is super special. Not only is it super special because God made it, but it's a special day because we get to celebrate our moms. Make sure you give your mom a great big hug today and tell her how much you love and appreciate her. She is so awesome. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms who are watching. All right, you're gonna be super kind to your mom today, aren't you? Good. All right, I'm gonna say hi to Adelie and Wyatt and Ashlyn and Elias. I'm glad you guys are watching. It is good to see you today. And Rune is on. Hey Rune, how's it going? I'm glad you're here. And what's up, Lizzie and Judah and Liam and Anna? I sure miss you guys. I'm glad that you stopped in today. Hey, I just saw that Millie and Whitney and Andrew are all watching. How's it going, guys? I'm glad you're here. It was fun seeing you at the park a while back. Good to see you. All right, and Noah and Luke, Asher, Madeline, and Micah. Hi, guys. I'm glad you're here. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started with a game today. Are you ready for it? Okay. This is going to be Simon Says, like you've never played it before, because I'm here and you're there. So we're going to be on the honor system, okay? Make sure you're following my directions exactly, but only if I say Simon says to do it, okay? So this is how it's going to work. If I say Simon says, clap your hands, what are you going to do? That's right, clap your hands. Now, if I say stop, and you stopped just now, you'd actually need to sit down because I didn't say Simon says to stop, okay? So do you see the difference there? You gotta make sure that you are only doing the things that Simon says. Now, since we're not here in a great big group, we're gonna do it a little different. So if you mess up, go ahead and just have a seat for one direction, and then you can stand up and keep playing because we want to just have a great time together. All right, are you ready? Let's do it. Here we go. Simon says, clap your hands. Simon says, stop. Simon says, jump up and down. Simon says, hop on one foot. Stop. Oh, if you stopped just now, you'd need to sit down because I didn't say stop. Keep hopping on one foot. Simon says, keep hopping on one foot. Simon says, stop. Simon says, put both arms up. Simon says, put both arms down. Simon says, put one arm up. Put both arms up. If you just put both arms up, you would need to sit down because Simon did not say to do that. All right. Simon says, put both arms up. Simon says, put both arms down. Simon says, put one arm out. Put both arms out. If you just put both arms out, you would be out. All right. If you have been sitting out for a little bit, Simon says that you can stand up. All right. Simon says, put both arms out. Simon says, put both arms down. Put one arm up. If you just put one arm up, you would need to sit down. All right. Simon says, put one arm up. Simon says, put both arms up. Put both arms down. If you just put both arms down, you would need to sit down. All right. Simon says, put both arms up. Simon says, put both arms down. Simon says, put one arm out. Simon says, put both arms out. Simon says, fly like an airplane. Simon says, fly like an airplane all the way over to your mom and give her a great big hug with those airplane arms. Right. And Simon says, come on back. And Simon says, have a seat. All right, did you guys have fun with that? I hope so. I wish I could see y'all playing and make sure that you're not cheating. You wouldn't do that. Oh, good, I'm glad. Okay, well, we're playing that game because sometimes Jesus gives us directions and we need to listen carefully for those. And sometimes Jesus gives us directions that seem kind of silly and don't make sense. Let me show you what I mean in today's story. Check it out.
And now for an amazing true story from the book of John, chapter 6, verses 1 to 13.
Eli hopped from one foot to the other as he stood in the doorway, watching crowds of people stream past his house on the dusty road on their way towards the mountain. Finally, he glanced back at his mother, kneading bread dough.
Can I make the dough into loaves?
Eli's mother smiled and shook her head.
Your hands are too dirty. Can I take Esther on a donkey ride? Your sister is napping, even if you had a donkey to ride.
Eli glanced back out at the crowds pushing down the road.
Dan, can I go see Jesus? Please? Isaac says Jesus made this guy who couldn't walk jump up and stuff.
Eli's mother sighed as she added more flour to the dough.
Your father is cleaning his fishing nets. He can't take you right now. I could go by myself. You won't be able to get back in time for lunch. I can take food along.
Eli's mother finally laughed and threw up her hands. Flour sifted through the air and caught in the sunlight.
Okay, all right, you can go, but you need to pack your own lunch.
In minutes, Eli had stuffed barley loaves and fish into a sack and he raced out the door, joining the crowds. The river of people carried him along as the track led up the rough mountainside. Soon, he spied a craggy rock ahead. At its base, a tall man with deep eyes and a kind face was talking to a group of followers. Eli tugged on an older woman's sleeve.
Is that Jesus? Well, could be, but I can't hear a thing in this mob.
While most of the crowd milled about trying to get closer, Eli was small enough to fit through the gaps. He reached the large rock and scrambled up to the top so he was perched just alongside Jesus and his friends. Their voices carried clearly.
Where can we buy bread for these people to eat?
Eli's eyes widened as he looked up to survey the crowd. There were thousands of people. Nobody could feed them all. Jesus' friends seemed to think the same thing. A lanky man with a red beard spoke up.
Suppose we were able to buy enough bread for each person to have just a bite? That would take more than a half a year's pay.
Eli leaned forward, trying to get a better look at Jesus. His movement caught the eye of a brawny man who looked up at him and smiled. Eli could see calluses on the man's hands. Cautiously, he slid down to the man and stood beside him.
My dad's hands look like that. Are you a fisherman too?
I used to be. Actually, I still am. Jesus says we're fishing for people now instead of, fish.
How do you fish for people?
Well, we tell them about God. We help with whatever we've got. Anybody can do it.
Grown-ups.
No, kids too. All Jesus asks is that we use what we have.
Eli was about to point out that he didn't have anything when he realized that wasn't true. He glanced down at the sack in his hand and carefully opened it.
I have my lunch.
2 small fish and 5 loaves of bread.
Oh, that's something.
Could Jesus use it?
The big man stared in surprise and then laughed.
Never hurts to ask. I'm Andrew, by the way.
Andrew led the way to where Jesus sat with his other followers.
Here's a boy with 5 small loaves of barley bread. He also has 2 small fish. But how far will that go in such a large crowd?
Eli suddenly felt foolish. It was ridiculous for him to offer his lunch when there were thousands of people who needed food. But Jesus didn't laugh. Instead, he smiled at Eli from a place deep down inside. Jesus turned to his friends. Have the people sit down.
Wait, what?
Jesus' followers sputtered in confusion for a few moments until they realized he was being serious. Then they began the difficult task of corralling the crowd.
Everybody, be quiet, please. Sit down in groups on the ground.
When everyone was seated, Jesus took the loaves from Eli's lunch and stood up. He lifted them toward heaven. Father, thank you for providing food for everyone who is hungry. Then Jesus began breaking off pieces of bread and fish and handing them out to the people in the front of the crowd. Take as much as you want. Eli stared as the first few groups began to eat. There were dozens of people munching on far more food than he had brought in his little sack. Soon it seemed like the whole crowd was eating lunch. Andrew tapped him on the shoulder.
Here, have some bread and fish.
Eli turned to see Andrew holding a basket filled with bread and small fish. Eli took out a chunk of bread and began chewing.
This tastes just like my mom's bread.
That's because it is.
As they both ate their fill, Jesus stood again and gestured to his friends. Gather the leftover pieces. Don't waste anything. Eli tugged at Andrew's sleeves.
How can there be any left over?
How was there enough food in the first place? Come on, kid. You want to help?
I don't have a basket or anything.
You got hands.
Eli grinned up at his new friend.
And I'm going to use them.
For the next hour, Eli worked side by side with Jesus' closest friends, and when they were done, they had gathered up 12 baskets of leftover bread and fish, all from the 5 loaves and 2 fish from Eli's lunch. The entire crowd of over 5,000 people were able to be fed and stay and listen to Jesus because Eli had offered what he had.
One thing that I love about that story is that when Jesus asked, the boy gave what he had. The boy knew that Jesus was big enough to take his little bit and make it into a lot. How cool is that? Now, it's the same way for us. You might be thinking, Miss Melissa, I'm a kid. I can't do big things for the kingdom of God. And you know what? That is just not true. The thing is, when we choose to become God's friends, He gives us the ability to serve Him even with the little things. Just like He took the boy's small lunch and He made it into a feast for a multitude, 5,000 people and more, and there were even leftovers just from 5 loaves and 2 fish. How cool is that? So I want you to answer this question today. How would you fill in the blank? I can serve my family by, what is it? Maybe it's something as small as sharing your Legos with a sibling. Or maybe that means helping your mom set the table for dinner. Or maybe that means praying for a friend to know Jesus better, or for your family, someone in your family to feel better. You know what? No matter how big or how small it is, God can take a small act of love and care, and He can use it for something big. So maybe something bigger than you can even imagine. Now, I hope you will join me for church after this. We are going to worship like we were dancing earlier. Well, at least I was dancing. I hope you are dancing with worship today and that you stay and listen to the message from Pastor Phil. I want to say a quick thank you to Kira, Malcolm, and Connor for stopping in, and say hi to Jaden, Haley, and Savannah. I also noticed that Elena, Stella, and Talia are on. Good to see you girls. And the Schluter fam. Also, I wanted to say hi to Shelby, Aiden, and Micah. It is good to see you. And Paul and Abigail and Elise. And the Ratliff girls and the Torontos. Oh my goodness, I wish I could say hi to all of you by name. But you know what? It would take me the whole show. So even if I didn't say your name, know that I am so thankful that you stopped in today. Hey, I hope you will be back next week for Living Faith Kids. And remember to wish your mom a very, very happy Mother's Day today.